All right, so looks like we're rolling here. Looks like we're ready to go. Let me grab real quick something to put this on. Here we go. So. All right, friends. So thank you for joining me. We're going to kind of start off where we left off yesterday. Okay. So yesterday, sorry, I got real tired towards the end of that video, and I needed to make sure that I got some sleep so I could get started here today. All right. So what we stopped on was rebuttals and need training. Okay. So rebuttals and needs. So we're going to go through rebuttals first. We're going to talk about rebuttals first. We're going to talk about why they're important. And it's just the questions that you should ask yourself when getting into those rebuttal situations. Okay. So the last couple of days doing these one-on-ones, the thing that I've observed to a large extent is that people feel like they are using rebuttals. They feel like they have the rebuttals down, but they're not using them and they don't have them down. Okay. And the best evidence for this, guys, most of the conversations that I've had with people in these one-on-ones when it comes to script is when they go to close and I say not interested or I use whatever excuse they prompted me to use, they told me to use, they usually respond back with something. Even some people don't even do this, but usually respond back with something like, well, the quote's good for 1 full year, or well, it's free and it's good for 1 full year. And that's not gonna get it done. We all know that's not gonna get the job done, right? So I know that we want to be light with customers in a sense. We want to be, gracious to customers. We don't want to make people angry, whatever. Same thing with canvassing. You don't need to go really any lighter than you did with canvassing. If you're an events person, you can respond back to people. There's a difference between rebuttaling and solving problems essentially and arguing with people. Okay. Yeah. You don't want to beat the customer down by just repeating the same thing back to them over and over and over again. But you can deal with customers' problems. You can deal with customers' problems forever. You can advise that person forever. You can keep the back and forth going as long as it remains positive and as long as you're doing the right thing. You're not alienating that customer by being super repetitive and disrespectful and so on and so forth, right? That's all you need to do. So the first question on this list here is, do I know all of my rebuttals? Okay. Now, I think that one of the mistakes that we've made when it comes to events is we haven't done a good enough job of going over rebuttals, a lot of rebuttals with events agents. Well, that's going to stop now. We're going to go through this stuff. For canvassers, you guys know your rebuttals from canvassing. Come on, it shouldn't take too much to adapt those to this position, to this job. I mean, I go through the same things that you go through, going through this events thing, getting acquainted to the events thing. How much more could you do if you were just as strong on your canvassing rebuttals, on your events rebuttals as you are with your canvassing rebuttals? How much better would you do? It's a great question for you to ask yourself. I bet you would be able to book a significant amount more people than you do right now. Some of you guys would be doubling and tripling your numbers, no doubt. Okay. From an events agent perspective, if you won those conversations that you're having more, how much more money would you make? So the first question is, do I know those rebuttals? Second question is, do I use those rebuttals? There's a difference between knowing them and using them, obviously. A lot of people that we run into, and think about this when you're at events and whatnot, that even know the rebuttals, they know what to say. Are they executing? Is there a reason? Are you looking back at many appointments or even some appointments and going, there's more that I could have said there? Okay. Did you leave any of your tools? Do you utilize all of your tools that you have? Okay. And do you believe in your philosophy? Do you believe in, and not in my philosophy as in myself, I mean your philosophy of I'm going to push, I'm here to create a service for the customers. I'm here to be, whether you think you're a salesperson or an advisor or somewhere in between. Okay. Unless you think your job is customer service, then rebuttals are essential to what you do. Okay. All right. So let's go into some. Hold on, my microphone's screwing up. 1 second. That should be good there. Okay. So we're going to go through some rebuttal specifics. We're going to talk about the specific rebuttals that we have. We're going to go through this, and again, this is all going to be in your packets that are sent to you after this call. Okay. All right, so the first couple event-specific rebuttals that we have, okay, the first couple of rebuttals that we have are more events-specific, okay? They were created for events. They were created to address certain things with events, okay? The first couple of rebuttals that we have are meant for that, all right? Now, if you open up to right after your event scripting, and you see example rebuttals, that's what we're going into. Now, the first one is for if the person says, I'm not interested, or I'm only interested in getting a contest, or I'm only interested in the contest. I'm not interested in buying any windows right now, whatever, okay? Absolutely, sir. And when you do win, this will give us the information necessary to work in your home. But even if you don't, this quote is locked in for 1 full year, so you have the information set aside. Our schedule is very flexible, sir. Our mornings, afternoons, or evenings better, okay? So again, absolutely, sir. And when you do win, you're giving them a positive. And when you do win, this will give us the information necessary to be able to work on your home. Essentially, what you're saying is, look, unless we have these measurements, unless we have, damn it, this microphone keeps going out. You can probably hear me, but microphone, which gives me better sound quality, keeps going out. I guess sort of take two. So what you're telling that customer is, look, unless we get the measurements to your home, we're not going to be able to follow through with that contest anyways, even if you do win. Now, obviously, the obvious answer, if the customer's in thinking mode and you were just asking them about that, would be, well, yeah, you can come out after I win. If I win, you can come out. But that's not where the customer's at, and that's not the point of what we're saying. The point is even if you don't win, the second part is the point. Even if you don't win, the quote's locked in for a full year, so you have the necessary information set aside. Okay? So it's highly effective, because any rebuttal where you're spitting back what the customer is saying to you, to them, where you're turning it into a positive, any rebuttal that's going to address a problem in that way is going to give you a great response. It's going to give you a positive response. So that's what you want to think about, guys. I think that's the perfect example of rebuttal. We're not going to go through every single rebuttal that we can do right now. I mean, there's a million rebuttals that we can do. There's a million things that we can do just with that little bit of information there. We're not going to go through every single little thing right now, because that would take us hours and hours to go through. Okay. But that rebuttal example, okay, what that should tell you, that should be enough information to let you know I can expand on what I'm saying. And as long as I'm addressing a customer's excuse, as long as I'm being specific and addressing their reasoning, then I'm going to get more than likely than not, a positive response from that customer. Okay. And that's the reality of what we do, is that the customer is looking for someone to answer their concerns. They're not looking for someone to fight with them. Okay. They're looking for someone to, again, eliminate their excuses. Okay. So when that customer tells me, no, I only want to sign up for your contest, then I'll simply say to that person, okay, yeah, and sir, when you do win, this will give us the information necessary to work on your home. But even if you don't win, or even if you don't, the quote is locked in for 1 full year. So you have the necessary information when you're ready. Okay, very simple, to the point. And then we always transition back into the script, okay? So what makes up a rebuttal? A rebuttal is made by answering the customer's concern, okay, addressing directly their concern, and by moving back into the script, okay? So you're answering their concern and you're moving back into the script. I'm just going to make a note down here real quick. Okay, so if a customer says, well, I just want to enter your contest, I'm not interested right now, you saying, well, the quote's good for a year, I guess it's sort of answering that concern, because you're answering, I'm not interested right now, but you're not really addressing their specific concern. Okay, you're not really spitting that rebuttal back at them, or that objection back at them in a positive way. Okay. When you expand on that and you say, well, Absolutely, sir. Look, and when you do win, this will give us the necessary information to be able to work on your home. But even if you don't win, the quote's locked in for 1 full year. So when you are ready, you have the information set aside, or the proper information set aside. Now, you said you get off work at 6 o'clock, sir. Is that typically the best time that works for you? Okay. Or maybe when it comes to transition, you don't even have to ask a question in that regard too. You could say, so you said that evenings typically work best for you, sir. I'll make a note of that. Then you just move on from there. Okay. All right. Now, let's say, for example, because let's say they don't say, I want to enter your contest. Let's say that they did enter the contest. Okay. But they just say, I'm not interested right now when it comes to the appointment. One way that you could swing this, and you could say, okay, sir, but when you do win this contest, we're going to need the measurements of your home. We're going to need the proper information to be able to go do the work on your home. And even if you don't win, sir, the quote's still locked in for 1 full year. So whether you decide to do the windows now or not, you have the information set aside. Okay. So all I did there to sort of warp that rebuttal was I didn't make it their idea. I didn't say absolutely, sir. And when you do win, this gives us the information necessary to work on your home. I said, yeah, sir. And when you do win, though, when you do win this contest, if you do win this contest, this will give us the information to work on your home, necessary to work on your home. And even if you don't win, the quote's locked in for 1 full year. So down the line, when you go to do the windows, when you're ready, you have the information set aside. Okay. So you can warp that rebuttal to fit just a not interested objection too. Hell, you could warp it to fit a no money if you wanted to. No, look, I'm not interested right now because I don't have any money. Well, that's why signing up for this contest is so important, because you can, again, win $30,000 worth of free windows and doors, and that's being drawn on December 31st. Now, when you do win that, because I'm confident that you will, when you do win that, you have a very good chance to, we'll need this information to be able to do the windows in your home. But even if you don't win, the quote's locked in for 1 full year. So down the line, when you already have that information set aside. Okay. Rebuttal number 2, Mr. Jones, even if you're not ready now, this is the best time to get a quote on your windows because our company has had to adapt to the current environment. Right now, we're offering X and Y, buy one, get one 40% off. And we're giving out $500 gift cards here at this event today. Because whether you win or not, you have so whether you win or not, you have the information set aside for the future. Okay. The $500 gift cards, remember, use all the tools that are available to you. The $500 gift cards are great because it's something that we've never done before. It's new, it's fresh. Talk about it. It's replacing the 5% off card. But here's the thing: when you say 5% off, they think of it as I'm still going to have to pay for 95% of my project. Okay. When you say $500 off gift card, they don't know how much the windows are. We're not going to tell them. We're not going to lie to them. We're not going to. That's why someone comes up to the house. That $500 gift card could be much more significant for the customer. What if they only want to purchase X amount of windows or Y amount of windows? That could be a significant benefit to the customer. Okay. So, Mr. Jones, even if you're not ready now, this is the best time to get a quote. Mr. Jones, even if you're not ready now, this is the best time to get a quote on your windows because our company has had to adapt to the current environment. Right now, we're offering buy one, get one 40% off. In just at these events, sir, we're giving out $500 gift cards until we run out. So whether you win or not, you have the information ready so you're ready for the future. Okay. Very simple. Again, transition back to script. So you said evenings work best, sir. Great. I'll make a note of that and then you move on. Okay. So those are the two sort of lead off events rebuttals. Okay. And a lot of times that's all you'll need. A lot of times that's all you need. If you're answering the customer's concern, it doesn't take you 45 minutes to be able to book the customer. Okay. But there's a lot more rebuttals that you can pull from too. A lot more canvassing rebuttals that you can pull from that would apply simply to events as well. Okay. So we're going to go through those rebuttals. We're going to go through each of those rebuttals. And again, you'll have a copy of this. We're going to talk about what they mean. Okay. Now, first, it's not a bad thing, guys. Getting off the written rebuttals a little bit, it's not a bad thing to be able to somewhat regurgitate the customer's problems back to the customer. So we're in the middle of the winter time. You're probably spending a lot more time at home right now because of the pandemic. You told me your windows are really drafty, and that's your biggest concern. Right? You're probably spending more right now on your energy bills month to month than you would on your windows month to month. That being said, it's worth taking a look so you have the information set aside. Okay. So you can continue to push that too. That's definitely something that you should use. So you vented a lot of frustration to me. It sounds like some of your windows don't even open. I'm not proposing that we come out and take a look at all your windows. Let's just come out and take a look at those couple windows, sir. So that way, when you're ready, you have the information set aside. Okay. Sir, congratulations on the new baby. That's awesome. I'm assuming that eventually they're going to have their own room. Let's just come out. We don't want them to be uncomfortable. Let's just come out and take a look at those couple windows. That way, when you're ready, you have the information set aside. Okay. So what is it? 2 windows? All right. So you can leverage what the customer's already told you as well. And that's not a bad thing. It's a very strong thing to be able to do to leverage that information. Okay. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. So getting into the canvassing rebuttals. All right. The first one here, we're going to go through the can't afford it real quick. All right. We're going to decide which of these would work well for events and which would not. Okay. And then I'm going to adapt that into the scripts that you'll be getting. So the first can't afford it. There's a good chance that keeping these windows might be more expensive than replacing them. Okay, you did mention, sir, that your windows were drafty and hard to open and close. If you knew it would be less expensive to replace your current windows than it was to keep them, I'm guessing you'd at least consider it. Now, before we go any further, you did mention 6 o'clock works out well for you. I'll take note of that. Okay. Well, so you didn't mention what time works well for you. Would you say you're typically out of work at these times? At 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever you're running into the customer. Okay. That's an effective one. That's kind of like what we just talked about. There's a good chance that keeping these windows might be more expensive than replacing them. And sir, you did tell me that windows are drafty, hard to open and close, and not energy efficient. If you knew it was less expensive to replace your current windows than it was to keep them, I'm guessing you'd at least consider it. Okay. Now, another way to phrase that one too would be to utilize the promotions, utilize our financing options. Sir, unlike most window companies, we work with a ton of different financing companies. What I can guarantee you is we can make your monthly window payment lower than your average monthly energy bill. Okay. You can absolutely say that because there is definitely ways for us to be able to do that. Of course, depending on the credit, but that's not something that we get into with the customers, of course. Sir, because we're a big company, we work with a lot of different financing institutions. What I can guarantee you is that your lower monthly payment can be as low as or lower than your average monthly energy bill. Okay. Or cable bill, you could say, but cable bills are pretty high right now. So, all right, the second one, very few of our customers have money put aside for new windows. That's why we have special programs to make this more affordable, but we're getting ahead of ourselves, and that's a fine one too. Now that you would dive back into the quote being good for 1 full year for that one, right? So I would say, well, very few of our customers have money put aside for new windows. That's why we have special programs to make this more affordable. But sir, we're getting ahead of ourselves because the quote that we offer is good for 1 full year. So when you're ready, you have the information set aside. So again, very few of our customers have money put aside for new windows. That's why we have special programs to make this more affordable. But so we're really getting ahead of ourselves because the quote that we offer is good for 1 full year. So when you're ready, you'll be happy that we stopped by. Go back into the script. Okay, the next one here is most of our customers say the exact same thing. At first, there's a good chance that some of your current windows are costing you more than others. One way to know which ones are is to estimate their energy loss. That will only take a few minutes, and then you'll know exactly where you stand. And that's a good one too. Now, again, keep in mind, at the end of these rebuttals, you're not pausing like I am. You're in the middle of a script. You go back into your script. You don't just pause and stop. You go back into your script, okay? So the way that could sound too, let's say that you were talking to a specific customer about their problems. Mr. Jones, most of our customers say the exact same thing at first. Now, being that you're experiencing so many problems, there's a good chance that some of your current windows are costing you more than others, okay? We'd be able to come out there and check exactly which ones are giving you those problems, sir. It's a no cost or obligation to you. It only takes a few minutes, okay? All right, so those 3 rebuttals can all be used for events as well. Those 3 rebuttals, I would say, you start off with can't afford it number 2 there, the shorter one. Very few of our customers have money put aside for new windows. That's why we have special programs to make this more affordable. Okay, you move to can't afford it number 1 and then go to can't afford it number 3.
It's just over here.
What's that? Jess is in the interview. Okay, cool. Sounds good. I'll let Andrew know. Thank you. Sorry, people walk. I told Michelle not to let anybody in here, but she did. Okay. So let me get to the not interested rebuttals will be next. Okay. The first one is very simple. I didn't expect to catch you on the day that you're ready to replace your windows. A lot of people get confused about that. How is that a rebuttal? I guess it's not. You're not answering an objection. Okay. There significantly anyways. You're kind of pushing off an objection. But that's fine. It's fine to do that too. It's fine to push off the objection like that. I didn't expect to catch you on the day that you're ready to replace your windows. So the customer says, I'm not interested. You say, so you typically get out of work at this time. They say, I'm not interested. You say, well, Mr. Jones, of course, I didn't expect to catch you here on the day that you're ready to replace your windows. That's why we locked the quote in for 1 full year. So that way, when you're ready, you have the information set aside. Okay. So again, Mr. Jones, of course, here, I didn't expect to catch you on the day that you're ready to replace your windows. That's why we lock our quote in for 1 full year. So when you're ready, you'll be happy that we stopped by. And now you see why we hold that idea that the quote's good for 1 full year. A lot of these rebuttals, they're contingent on the fact that the customer, we're going to let them know about the quote being good for 1 full year. That's why we hold that. We're not holding that for any reason except for we want to use it for rebuttals to objections. The second one, Mr. Jones, if you're ready to install new Windows today, you would have called us. That's why it's important that we get this information in your hands now. After all, it's eventually something you're going to have to do. Okay, that one can obviously be used for this. Okay. Mr. Jones, if you're ready to install new Windows today, of course you would have called us. That's why it's important that we get the information in your hands now. After all, it's eventually something you're going to have to do. And so that's why we locked that quote in for 1 full year. So that way, when you're ready down the line, you have the information set aside. Okay. Now, this next one we couldn't really use as much for events. Since if you were to drive around Mechanicsburg, you could, I guess. If you were to drive around Mechanicsburg today, you'd probably see a couple jobs being installed for people that has visit them a couple of years ago when they were in the thinking stage, just like you are now. By having us out now, you'll be in a better position to plan. So when you're ready, you'll know exactly what can be done and what it will cost. And I get, yeah, you can use that because it's not like you're saying, hey, we're in the neighborhood, we're doing your neighbor's house, because we obviously don't know their address before they come up. You can say that though, because it's reality. If you were to drive around Mechanicsburg today, if you drive around Harrisburg, Jonestown Road. If you were to drive around Harrisburg today, if you were to drive around Altoona today, you'd probably see a couple jobs being installed for people that us visited a couple of years ago when they were in the thinking stage, just like you are now. By having us out now, you'll be in a better position to plan so that when you are ready, a year down the line, 2 years down the line, you'll know exactly what can be done and what it will cost. Okay. So far, 6 out of 6 can be used during events as well. Okay. All right, now we get into spouse never home together rebuttals, and this is something that we should not be losing on ever, okay? Nearly ever. All right, let's say the customer says, look, I don't want my wife to be there, or we have busy schedules. Sir, most of our customers are real busy. That's exactly why we're so flexible. We'll visit during the day, evening, or weekend. What's normally better for you? Okay. Again, my spouse is, we're never home together. She works a lot of hours. I work a lot of hours. We're just never home together. We appreciate exactly how pressed for time you are, Mr. Jones. Let me assure you that discussing this with both you and your wife together will actually use much less of your time, and it virtually guarantees there'll be no misunderstandings that could make either one of you unhappy with the results. Okay. Now, typically, you said typically Saturdays work best for you. What time does your wife get out of work on Saturdays? Something like that. Okay. Very simple. My favorite one, though, because it's a catch-all. If the customer says, I don't want my wife to be there, or if the customer says, me and my wife are never home together, you can say, as you can imagine, it is expensive to send a train expert out to your property free of charge. The only courtesy that we request is that all owners of the property invest just 90 minutes. Now, there's got to be some way that we can do that without inconveniencing you. Okay. All right. I'll call you. Give me your card. This is something that we see come up often, guys. I'll call you and give me your card. Something like that. The person goes, I'll take the information. Okay. Well, no, you can, just call me back later. Same situation too. Mr. Jones, given the current environment, it's the best time to look at home improvements. Even if you don't purchase new windows, you allowing us to visit enables us to keep people working. When you do this, when you allow us the opportunity to do this, we thank you by providing you with additional benefits and programs. So that's one that was written for events specifically during COVID. So I'm going to go through that one more time. Mr. Jones, given the current environment, it's the best time to look at home improvements. Okay. Now you might say, Mr. Jones, this season, winter season, is the best time to look at home improvements. So Mr. Jones, with there being this COVID-19 stuff, okay, and it being wintertime, it's the best time to look at home improvements. Because even if you don't purchase windows now, you're allowing us to keep people working, keep people employed. When you allow us this opportunity, we thank you by providing you with a bunch of additional benefits and programs. For example, sir, today, only at these events, we're giving out a $500 gift card that you can only get through me, which can take care of a sizable amount of your job. Okay. All right. That's a good way to move with that. Utilize your tools again. Now, there's other ways that you can handle the I'll call you, give me your card thing too. The customer says, I'll call you back. I would say they all center around now being the best time to look at what we have to offer. Okay. because they're visiting. What makes you special? What separates you from them calling into an ad? Okay. Make them understand, look at Mr. Jones out here. They have to give us something. Okay. Like we're out here, obviously for a reason that they have to give us something. All right. They have to give you something. All right. That's different. An incentive to take a look through us, sir. Because you're taking a look through us, we are offering buy one, get one 40% off right now. We're also offering $500 gift cards that we've never given out up until now. Okay. Up until the last month or so. And we're not going to do it into the future. All right. So you can take advantage of those things today by simply getting a free price quote that's good for an entire year. Now, what time of day typically works best for you? Mornings, afternoons, or evenings? These are simple things, guys. And when I'm coming up with these things, it's because I'm thinking logically about what the customer is saying to me. We're going to go over that a little bit more in a little bit. The last group of rebuttals that we'll go over is too busy, no time. And these are simple. Look, I don't have the time right now. The holidays, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me assure you, we have total respect for your time. This will only take a minute of it. That's if they're in a rush. Concerning the appointment, we open up our schedule, expecting there might be difficulties like this. We do visit 7 days a week, mornings, afternoons, and evenings. I'm sure that we can find a time for you. Okay. All right. Like I said, those are the last rebuttals. There is a big list of other rebuttals too that I'm going to send out to people. What we do with that list when it comes to canvassing is we say, hey, learn these in your first week, learn these in your second and third week. And some of those are really effective. There's things like, what's the price? If a customer asks, what's the price? Well, the price of the window depends on the make, model, and color that you choose. Of course, the sizes, most importantly, the composition and conditioning of window frames, which will affect the installation requirements. May I make a suggestion? There's not ready, number 2. Let me set you at ease. Most people don't buy anything when we visit the first time. Some do, some buy later, a couple months or a couple of years. So you won't be wasting our time. In fact, the only way that we'll ever earn your business is if you give us the opportunity to make a good impression now and leave you with some ideas for your home when you're ready. Okay. There's a lot of different options. Can't afford it, number 2. A different can't afford it rebuttal. Mr. Jones, most of our customers say the exact same thing at first. There's a good chance that some of your current windows are costing more than others. What's more, there's some affordable ways to buy windows using the energy savings from your old windows. Even if you're not ready now, this will enable you to better plan for when you're already. That's a very effective one too. So there's a whole host of stuff to say out there, guys. And part of this is my fault for not putting these out there sooner, okay? We haven't put enough emphasis on rebuttals in events. And the reason for that has been a couple different reasons. Number one, in the beginning, before we had good footing, we wanted to shy away from being, quote unquote, aggressive to customers out there at events. Okay. But I think now, given our sort of veteran status within this department, within doing this, being used to it, it's okay to push a little bit more because remember what we're doing. A rebuttal is made when you are answering the customer's concern and you're transitioning back to the script. It's a rebuttal is not when you are fighting with / arguing with a rebuttal is not when you piss people off or when you fight with them or argue with them. And I feel like we're mature enough to understand this as a department that we can get out there and we can pitch people up just pissing them off. We're answering that customer's concern, guys. Throw anything at me and I'll be able to answer it back because I use logic in my rebuttals. Logically, what does this customer need to hear right now? Listen, man, it's the middle of a pandemic. I just got back to work. Okay. I'm not going to be buying windows for a while now. Sir, of course. I mean, this is a difficult time for a lot of people. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're out here. Trust me, my job has changed a lot as well since the beginning of this thing. We were off for a long time. It was really, really a difficult time. And Anderson, as an American company, understands that problem, sir. That's why we're offering quotes that are good for a full year right now. So even if you don't want to do the windows now, you at least have the information for what you're ready in the future. Okay? Common sense. Let's say the person says, listen, I'm on a fixed income. I'm on a budget. There's no way I can do windows right now. And sir, trust me, that's not a problem unique to you. That's not a situation that's unique to you. We run into it all the time. And so that's why we've made programs that make it easy for people in a situation like yourself to at least take a look at windows, right? What we would do, sir, is we'd start by looking at, let's say, three of your windows and leaving you with a quote that's good for a full year on those, right? Going through financing options, so on and so forth. That way you have all the information prepared for when down the line, whether it's a year or it's 5 years, when down the line you want to do your windows. Okay. That's, guys, how you're going to get it done. That's how you're going to get it done, is by answering back to that customer's objection. These rebuttals are fantastic. They are very much, you got to understand, with written down rebuttals, they are going to address the whole of the problem. They're not going to address pieces of, you can't make such specific rebuttals where somebody says, I just lost my job, because if you never run into that situation, we just did all that work for no reason. That's where common sense comes into play. That's where you do one of a couple things. Remember, guys, you use the customer's problems to address them, just like any advisor would do. If I'm advising, if I'm a financial advisor that's advising a former drug addict like myself, then I'm probably going to talk about addiction. I'm probably going to talk about not dumping your money into things that are highly addictive, like baseball cards, for example, right? Like my financial advisor, if he knew what I was doing with these baseball cards right now, he'd probably shit. Like I mean, it's his advice would be very strongly, don't do that. Do not do that. Do not buy that. Okay. We're just giving the same kind of advice to the customer that we're talking to. We're just advising that customer. If your windows are drafty, if they're hard to open and close, if they're rotting, then you're going to need to take a look. Quote's good for a full year. You're going to need to get an inspection. Have a professional look at your product. Sir, if you can point out to me, listen to this, right? Mr. Jones, if you can point out to me that your windows are drafty, that they're rotting around the edges and frames, then imagine what a professional can point out to you, okay? That's all we want to do, is have somebody come out to check what problems you might be experiencing, and then they're going to leave you with that information, okay? And it's good for an entire year. Now, you said evenings work best. Would you say 6 o'clock is typically best? I'll take a note of that, okay? So answering the customer's concerns by A, utilizing the window issues they are experiencing. And these, by the way, are in no order. Okay. Second, utilize the tools you have. Okay. Which in this case would be $500 gift cards, promos, financing options. Look, man, I'm definitely not going to be able to buy windows right now because we just moved into our new house. And I mean, geez, we dumped so much money into that. Well, I'll let you know, sir, we really do value new homeowners. It's great to see. Congratulations on the home, by the way. It's great to see people moving into a new home and whatnot. We do value new homeowners greatly. And we do have a special program specifically for new homeowners. So we can definitely find some financing options that might be able to work for you. But either way, sir, the quote's good for a full year. So when you're ready, you'll be happy that we stopped by. Okay. I already told you the fixed income thing that works tremendously. Okay. I'm on a fixed income. I have a budget. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford windows. Well, sir, as an American company, we understand American problems. There's so many people that are in the same situation as you. Okay. That's why our company, as an American company, has created programs for people like yourself to be able to at least take a look to see if it's something that might be worth it for you to do. Let's start by coming out to look at 3 windows, sir. And that's the next thing is break down the job. People think they have to do all of their windows. This is the only RBA I know of that allows for just one window. Okay. So there's not many renewal by Andersons, if there's any, that allow for just one window. Never mind an entry door. There's really no renewal by Andersons that I know that do entry doors. Never mind, let alone just an entry door. Okay. And we can do that here. We can do only an entry door here. We can do only a window here. No other company can we do that with. Come on in, take a seat. Where's Andrew at? Where's Andrew at?
I think he's right behind me.
We have an interview here. I'm just in this training video now, but I'm almost done with it. And we're going through rebuttals, so you can just listen in there. And we have a link here. You wanna do it?
Yeah, it's the second one.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the training video right now, but I'm almost done with the rebuttal part. Then I'm just gonna go through needs. So she can just listen to that. Pulling things up. Oh, okay, the interview. All right, perfect. Okay, so guys, just to kind of sum this up for you, okay, we have a whole host of rebuttals. You can use like 99% of the canvassing rebuttals at events. You have a couple events rebuttals that you probably don't even know at this point. And remember, guys, common sense is going to make the money for you. Utilize the window issues that they're experiencing. Utilize the tools that you have, the gift cards, the promotions, the financing options, and break down the job. People think they have to do all of their windows. They can do just one. They can do just one entry door as well. Okay. All right. The next video, the last video that we're going to come out with is going to be about need. Okay. We're going to address need. So I'm going to pause this real quick and then